Hello and welcome to what will be a new series, command block creations, in which I show you different command block creations. In this first episode I'll be showing you a creation called safe zone. Basically creates tells the game what an area is and call it a safe zone, which I've marked out with yellow wool, and when I go outside this safe zone something will happen. So if I walk out, what happens is I get teleported into this prison, quotation marks here, it's not really prison, and some text at the bottom left in the chat. So I'll be showing you how to create this, and then I'll explain some ways you could use it in a sort of Minecraft situation. So first you need to set your sort of safe zone area. I have another one set up over here which has a center coordinate here which you need to write down. So you need to write the center of the area you want, and then you need to sort of mark out the area around it as a square. So this only works for square areas. You don't have to have this marked out, but while you're making it's a good idea to have it marked out, and then you could sort of change it to blend with the environment like later. Now the next thing we need to do is create something called a redstone clock. Now what this is, or first I'll show you how to make it, and it's basically a comparator which is not repeated, it's the other thing, the redstone comparator, which is one with like 3 torches here, and then you want to put a torch at the back where the 2 red torches are, and that's called input A. Then you want to put a redstone signal going from the front, so the opposite side to where the redstone torch was, and around it here to the side to the side of the comparator, which is called input B. And then you want to right click the comparator so the front torch comes on. This called putting it into subtraction mode, and it creates this tick which ticks on and off every one tick, so it's the quickest you can get in Minecraft. Next you want to extend the front bit out by 3 redstone dust, and then at the end put a command block. So what this does is basically whatever command we put in the command block, it will perform that command every time this ticks on, and because it's so quick it's good for like checking areas, because if I walk out it'll only take 1 tick for this to decide something's happened. So what we need this command block to do every time this ticks on is run a command that tests for the player in our area. So the command which we put in here by right clicking command block, we put in the console command bit at the top, testfor, all one word. So this command tests for the next argument we put in and other things. So yeah, we put testfor space and we put @p, because as you can see it says a use @p to target nearest player. So that testfor the nearest player. Then we put 2 square brackets, and in these 2 square brackets we're going to put some arguments which allows us to test for a player in a certain area of a certain radius. So the first thing we need to put is x equals, and that's the x coordinate of the middle point. So I've got it marked in orange wall here, the middle point of our area. So I've got the coordinate written down somewhere. It is x equals -69, put a comma, then y equals, again the y coordinate. We've got it for z equals after a comma, and then you put the z coordinate 918. The next bit after a comma is r equals, and r equals is the radius, the square radius even of the block. If the r equals 1, then it will just be the block itself where the coordinate is. If it's r equals 2, it will be the 1 block area around the block. So it will be that block, this block, this block, this block, this block, and all the thing is. And if you put r equals 3, it will be this whole area, because that's the square area around this center block. So what we do is we set this to r equals 3. Press done, and now we're going to put a comparator down so that it's facing away from the command block but touching it, so that these 2 torch bits here are touching the command block. So that's input A touching the command block, and that basically means that we have this testfor command, and if we go into this area that should turn on, and yep, it turns on, and if we walk out it turns off. So we've got that set up. Now usually if a command is true, it releases a signal which makes loads of things happen. However, when we're in this area we do not want to be teleported out or killed or whatever. We want that to happen when we're out of the area, which is when this transmission is actually off. So what we need to do is do something which basically sort of inverts the process. So when this is true nothing happens, but when this is false, which is when we're outside the area, things happen, and I'll show you how to set it up now. So the first thing to note is that comparators, when a command block releases a transmission signal, it's got a transmission signal of 1, which is the weakest redstone signal you can have. So 15 is like a full signal, 15 blocks, and 1 is the smallest, 0 obviously there's no signal. So when this transmits its signal to the comparator comparator will only transmit through it a 1 power signal. So if we put 2 redstone blocks down and go into the area to set this to true, you can see that, you probably can't see that well, but only that first block is lit with redstone, the next block hasn't got a signal going through it. So what we need to do is to put at the front of the comparator a repeater because what's a good thing about a repeater is that any signal that goes to a repeater always gets reboosted out of the other end as a full signal. So now if we put our redstone there, walk into the area, the signal is now full. Now the next thing to do is to put a comparator down, but we don't comparator down in the usual manner where the A input signals to the direction of the transmission signal. We actually put it sideways so that the A input's somewhere to the side, but the side to the like right 90 degrees to that's touching the repeater, and then the out bit is going out somewhere else. Now the reason why we do that is for one simple reason: the subtraction mode of a comparator, which we can enable by right clicking the comparator, and it makes the front torch red. Now what this does is when there's two signals, one from A and one from B, it will always do A minus B as the output signal. So if we have this as full strength and the bit to the side as one below full strength, then it will do A minus B, which is full strength minus one less than full strength, and the output signal will be 1 power, because that's the difference. So it will be just this block lit up with redstone, but the rest of it won't, because that's the difference between these two signals. So hopefully by now you're starting to understand why we do this. Now that's because when we're in the area, this will power up. Again, the repeater makes it full signal, so now we've got a full signal going to the side. And then what we'll put here is also a full signal. So if these are both on, these are both on full power, so the input A is full power, the input B is full power, it's on subtraction mode. A minus B, which are equal, means the output will be 0, which means nothing will go out that way. However, if we walk away, input A is full, input B, however, is nothing. Something minus nothing goes back to the same something. So if this is full power and that's 0, the output will be full power, and that means that anything along here will get transmitted when this is off. And this is pretty much when your imagination kicks in, because what you put here are your command blocks, your whatever, your torches, your torches, I mean glowstone, lamps, whatever you want to happen when you're outside the area, you will put along this line. And if you have multiple command blocks like this, you should have redstone on the top of them by holding shift and right clicking the top and right clicking along. This means that anything connected to this redstone signal will have this redstone signal transmitted through it. So all these command blocks will have the redstone signal transmitted through it. And if you want a little delay between blocks, you just put repeaters down and you just extend their signals out a bit. So what I've just set up here is a command block which says, so the command say basically puts that into the chat saying hi. I've got two repeaters on full delay, so that means there'll be a little bit of delay, and I've got another command block even saying little delay. So if we go inside of our thing, the power will turn on, there's no signal being transmitted. We walk off the area, signal removes, and these two commands enable because now there is power going through here. So yeah, thanks for watching this video on this little contraption, first episode of my new series. Please comment if you think the series is alright so far. Obviously it won't be perfect, I know this video is quite long, so I'll try and condense the future episodes. Unless I complicate things, and obviously I can't condense it, but yeah. Thanks for watching, I already said that, but I'm a very polite person. Yeah, I'll see you guys next video.